Hey, 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 it's Ben Alfrey, your virtual CTO, and this is the CTO Guy Buzzword series on Sass. We've covered HTML, we've covered Haml, we've covered CSS, now we're covering Sass. Sass is to CSS what Haml is to HTML. So, let's do a little refresher here. We've got a CSS file, we've got an HTML file, we've got no JavaScript at this point. So we've switched our CSS engine to Sass. Now let's see what happens. CSS to Sass. Let's find something fun here. We'll paste the CSS in and we'll say we would like to convert it to Sass. Sass, you can see, is a much more compact representation. Let's paste that back into our CSS. And we're looking beautiful once more, but now we have some time for some fun stuff. You can see that it's doing some nesting for us. This is really nice. Instead of using those curly braces like we saw before, let's look at the differences here. Instead of using the curly braces, it's using white space. That's a little nicer. And instead of doing stuff like this where we're having to repeat some of our CSS directives, it's able to nest those inside each other, and it knows that this TRTD has a table in front of it. You see that? TRTD has the table in front of it. It knows that it converts into that kind of CSS. So the advantage of Sass is when you get into very deeply nested CSS, you can have a much more organized approach to your project. But that's not even the most powerful feature of Sass. CSS is a static language, much like HTML. It is what it is, you can't change it, you write it once, everybody sees the same thing. But with Sass, you can include variable names. So you can do something like this. Let's say BG color is black. And now, instead of that, we can do background color. And the nice thing about that is we can have all our colors in one spot, so if we want to make it a little lighter, perhaps something like that, we can do that. We can have accent color, let's make that red for now. And then down here we can say that the heading should be the accent color. Right? Base color, we can say that's gray, and we'll call this base color. All right, so we're starting to do some things. Now watch what you can do. Let's say I want to create some rounded message boxes. We'll go down here to the bottom, and first let's define a box class. So we'll say a box has a border, 1 pixel solid, what did we say up here? Base color, like that. Okay, now what I'd like to do is add a rounded border to the box. Before we do that, let's go up here and let's add a box, hello world, right up here. Okay, so that's what our box looks like right now. Not very exciting, right? Oops, I need to add a little period there. Okay, so here we have, our box. Let's set a width of 300 pixels on that box. Okay, that's looking a little nicer. Maybe some padding, 5 pixels of padding, looking a little better. Okay, now I want to add a border radius. Now I can do it this way right here, but actually that's not compatible across all of browsers. So what I would need to do instead is something like this. And that will be compatible across all browsers. Oh, whoops, let's take out those semicolons. And now we have a nice rounded thing. Now, if I really want to be compatible across all browsers, I have to make this 50% and this 50% and this 50% and this 50%. I have to, if I want to make it compatible, I have to do that everywhere. Or I can just create a macro. And I can call the macro border radius, if I can spell it. And inside there, I'm going to take what I've got, like this, and then I'm going to go rad, 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 and then down here, instead of spelling it out every time, I'm going to go border radius 50%. Just like that. And then down here, I'm going to go border radius 10px, just like that. And then I got to remember to put my $ in here if I want this to work. And now we've created a border radius macro. So you can see that Sass allows us to reduce a lot of repetition. This is important for your development team. If they're not talking about Sass and Haml, you got to wonder what's going on. You got to wonder where your money's going, because this is a much more manageable version of all of this, stylistic markup. And we're not even done yet. Now that we have a basic box here, let's do this. Let's make a new class called message that extends box. And now we'll make a new thing here, message. This is the message. Okay. This is just a box. This is a message. You see how they look identical? But we're not done yet. I've spruced up the message a little bit to center it on the screen, and maybe even give it a little more padding. So we're overriding a few of the things from the box, but not everything from the box, right? And now we're creating a new thing called success, where we say background color green. And now let's go here and let's create a new one called this is a success message. Let's see what that does. Ooh, looks nice. Let's make the font color white. And now let's make a failure message. We'll do the same thing here. And we will make the background color red and the text white. So can you see what's beginning to happen here? And we'll even kind of add a margin around these. You can see something that's beginning to resemble an application, and we're doing this all with style sheet markup. We're beginning to see something that kind of resembles a modern application, right? So this is really important to know, just from a high level, what technologies are being used to create modern, really great looking applications. I'm not saying this is a great looking interface right now, but you can see that it's becoming that way, right? And when you go look at something like Bootstrap, let's take a look at Bootstrap, at their CSS, particularly down here at helper classes, I think is where I wanted to go. Well, let's see, we've got forms, we've got, you've got nice rounded corners in here, you've got buttons, you've got, here we go, some buttons like this, right? We can basically, duplicate that type of functionality here. So let's go back and let's create a new class called button. And button is going to extend message, but it's going to be much smaller. Let's say like 75 pixels wide. Okay, and let's create a button. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, button text. Okay, and we will, now we have some button text there. You know, we can keep going and going with this. There's 1,000 things to do with Sass, and if you really want to know, you go here to the sasslanguage.com, and you can learn a lot more about it. I don't think we need to get in any deeper. You can see where this is headed, where you've got some nice manageable styling directives. You've got the document markup, and you can see that we're beginning to adopt a semantic approach. So this stuff about, you know, headings and paragraphs and lists is kind of falling away, right? And it's being replaced with semantic things like box and message and button. So this is how web applications are being built today. I mean, this is not everything that's involved, but this is getting there. So let's end this, and then we'll continue with our buzzword series in another video.